Patrick Jephson joins us again, of course, the former private secretary to the late Diana, Princess of Wales. Talking about that dynamic, when you talk to people from different parts of the world, is there a uniformity of the eccentricities that different countries bring to how they view events like these?
Well, Paul, I dealt with this firsthand when organising overseas tours for the Prince and Princess, and then latterly for the Princess alone. And for me, this was very much an exercise in listening. You know, perhaps this is a contrast with some political overseas travel. If it's royal travel, it's diplomatic, it's goodwill, it's humanitarian, there's some trade promotion, there's cultural promotion, it's all these things. But there is an advantage that royal people have over travelling politicians, because they don't have a political axe to grind. And therefore, for example, with Princess Diana, when we visited a country, it was as part of a coordinated element in British foreign policy. You know, essentially the royal family are the soft power weapon in the British nation's armoury. And Princess Diana perhaps the best exponent of that. But she was greeted warmly wherever we went, from Tokyo to Argentina. And a good example being Argentina. She did the first high-profile royal visit to Argentina since the end of the Falklands War. A very, very prestigious diplomatic mission which she carried off perfectly.
I remember being in Australia and involved in the briefing from Government House regarding royal tours, and I think I want to amplify what you say. We'd have an idea of what they wanted to do, but they were very particular, and it involved a lot of grassroots organisations. And they wanted, in my experience, as much engagement with ordinary Australians as possible. When you put together those sorts of trips, when you want to represent the Crown in the best possible light in a foreign land, is the leave from that the sovereign, or the leave from that the Prince and Princess direct?
You know, it comes down to individual personalities, Peter. Each royal performer has their own style. They have their own priorities. Obviously, they are guided by government advisors, by very often the local ambassador in the country being visited. And of course, in the realms, it's a totally different situation. There they are at home and are advised by the local parliament, as King Charles reminded us just in his speech. So it is one of the most important elements in royal life. And I think you make a very good point that, yes, they want to get to know people at grassroots, but equally, there's a mistake if they forget that, you know, if you expect people to stand out in the rain for an hour for a glimpse of somebody royal, they'd better not be disappointed. Be royal. And I would say this particularly to the rising generation. Don't forget to be royal. Diana knew this. Give people what they expect, give them more, and they'll want more.
Very true. Thank you so much, Patrick, again. We do appreciate it. We'll talk to you again.